All right, Erica Lorraine Spencer here. This is the P.O.C. This is real-time documentation, audio documentation of what is the public entity, the state of California, that's engaged in a criminal system of federal group stalking and monitoring, acting in concert with the people of the state, which at this juncture I am focused on the people of the state and every guise under which they are intentionally engaging in the criminal elements of monitoring, and doing so vicariously on behalf of that public entity that is operating a monitoring system. Monitoring an American citizen in violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 2261A, subsections 1 and subsections 2. The state is monitoring via communication devices. The state is monitoring by ceaseless engagement in the three criminal elements of monitoring, which are light, activity, that's audible, visible, or sensational activity. And sensational is a reference to anything that you can feel, something which is physically perceptible, such as rumbling, vibrating, shaking, etc. And the third element is relevant positioning, which is the group stalking conduct, meaning the people of the state of California are in the path, around the path, intentionally so, cooperatively so, and ceaselessly in concert with the state that is engaged in group stalking via helicopters, airplanes, law enforcement, fire, and ambulance. This is a group stalking system in operation by the state, and this is representing what the government is engaged in and how it engages in what is systematic criminal monitoring. My documentation is speaking to what is the massive monitoring system in operation, and that is also, all you have to do is pay attention. Even in the video that I captured when I'm getting group stalkers in City of Ontario vehicles, look at where the state's fake sun is. Pay attention to the time. Pay attention to what I've already documented. Pay attention to when I walk over to the Brightview group stalkers across the street and where the state's fake sun is at that time. It is no longer over the senior center. Pay attention to where I captured it yesterday, where I was sitting on beside the library, and it is hovering over me at an entirely different location, whereas where I'm at the Brightview location, capturing their information for documenting the people of the state acting via Brightview, who is engaged in sexual molestation of my person as they are creating audible and light activity under the state's fake sun, intentionally present in my path, which is criminal facilitation of monitoring conduct, and it is malicious conduct as they are doing so through their business and or trade. This is how the public entity monitors, by the way, and this is where you will see the state's fake sun, which is nowhere near the senior center, and it's not even where I captured it yesterday, which was in the afternoon after 12 p.m. It's what is past the 280 North Lemon Apartments edge. Like I said yesterday, you pay attention to those nuances. That's the real-time movement of that light source. This is incriminating every third party, as I am literally capturing their sickening images and their logos and their license numbers and their California license numbers, so that you can see and understand who was monitoring and who was threatening American citizens. And that is what is represented, and that is what is shown. In addition to that, what do I capture? This is the helicopter that's engaged in flying for a prolonged period of time as I capture it audibly. And I'm speaking to that which I documented, which is directly related to that helicopter activity, which is an ongoing pattern of conduct, which I have also already established with regard to the ongoing group stalking by the state by helicopter everywhere that I go. That is also speaking to what Brightview, City of Ontario and Public Works vehicles, Airgas, Alaska Airlines, Southwest Airlines are engaged in. All right, it's 11:04 a.m. and this is just speaking to what you will hear with regard to my real-time documentation that I'm capturing this morning as I arrive at the side of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library with the state's light source hovering over my head, literally moving as I move, which you will see in the videos, you'll see in the pictures, and that is the ongoing cumulative value of that documentation showing what is stalking with light, and you do so because the people of the state are monitoring in concert with that public entity. And by the way, that's how a government works. The government is not in your home with you, but the government is in your home with you when it is present vicariously and intentionally on behalf of those who surround you. That's called group stalking. That is called contract stalking, gang stalking. It's a state-organized system, and that's what the substance of my documentation shows. And this is showing the people of the state acting in any commercial, acting under any logo, engaging in what is supposed to be whatever business on behalf of the municipality. The municipality is monitoring American citizens, sexually violating American citizens, criminally threatening and harassing American citizens while doing so, engaging in that which is psychopath conduct in nothing but a commercial vehicle and or business establishment. It's 11:05 a.m. and that is P.O.C. It's 10:32 a.m. The state's been flying over in helicopter for the past 20 minutes. That's P.O.C. Ontario OVITT Family Community Library Senior Center, where Brightview was engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, where City of Ontario Public Works engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, where Southwest Airlines engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, where the state's light sources over this location where I am as well. That's P.O.C., and that's the state also acting directly via helicopter. Do not be deceived by that. The state has been, it's 10:33 now, like as I stated, as I am Googling what are the people of the state of California flying over me, engaged in monitoring via Southwest commercial airplane over 280 North Lemon Apartments under the state's fake sun, while I'm surrounded by the people of the state in their commercial vehicles. That is Brightview and City of Ontario and Public Works vehicles. Understand the state has been engaged in repeated flight directly over me in a circle. That's that P.O.C., that behavioral pattern, and doing so for over the past 15 to 20 minutes as I am Googling what are logos in order to document the people and the companies with which they are monitoring an American citizen. So there you go again, it's 10:34, because that's what it's been doing for the past 15, 20 minutes. Now, what is the distinction between Southwest Airlines flying over creating audible activity and the helicopter flying over creating audible activity? It's the same criminal conduct. They're in the same relevant position. They are under the same fake sun, which is a light source. You have the state that is acting vicariously via Southwest Airlines. You have the state that is acting directly via helicopter. That's the only difference. It's the same criminal pattern of conduct. Now, I want to be clear. Repeated ongoing ceaseless helicopter activity for over 15 minutes. Only pausing now because the psychopath group stalker that is monitoring knows that I'm recording. That pattern of conduct is already established. That is speaking to ongoing knowledge of what I am doing. In no way reducing what is the ongoing stalking conduct, and understand that is the posing of an impermissible threat by that entity that is monitoring via City of Ontario still. A very obsessed stalker in a commercial vehicle for which they will be prosecuted, representing the people of the state of California, also engaged in what was documented harassment by those idiots driving those commercial vehicles, representing the people of the state of California, acting vicariously by City of Ontario Public Works vehicles, monitoring an American citizen, criminally harassing and threatening while doing so. Air gas. Engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, creating light activity under the state's fake sun as I enter inside of Ontario Health Center. Understand that's the same criminal conduct Ontario police engaged in yesterday as I documented in relevant position, creating light activity while I am going inside of what is anticipated a private space. Air gas under the fake sun, using its vehicle as a means of creating light activity via the hazard lights on that vehicle. And also group stalking as I'm walking in the parking lot, creating substantial loud noise. That's exactly what these group stalkers in the City of Ontario vehicles are doing. Mind you, standing right behind me, group stalking via City of Ontario access into the senior center, banging stuff, using their vehicles for beeping, just creating noise like a psychopath. Understand that's demonic conduct. It's only occurring with a commercial vehicle. It's demonic. And it's also criminal, but that's demonic. It's currently 10:37 a.m. That is documentation of what is federal group stalking and monitoring, and also that which is inherent to where the public entity is monitoring you, ongoing real-time knowledge of what you are doing as you are doing it. This is occurring also inside of the private space, any private space, such as a bathroom or the private residence, and of the target individual who's being monitored by the state, while the state is acting vicariously via the people of the state. And my documentation shall publish all the companies representing the people of the state vicariously acting on behalf of the public entity that was, as you heard, stalking and monitoring, flying for repeatedly over 15 to 18 minutes by helicopter. I am sitting at the side of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That is P.O.C. The people of the state also engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring via Alaska Airlines, flying directly over the Ontario Health Center at 150 East Holt Boulevard. As I am exiting that building, so as I'm walking east on Holt Boulevard, on that street, and again, the state's fake sun is right there over that building as I am present. As I've already shown, it's over the museum, remaining over there, over the health center as I am there, and the Alaska Airlines plane flies directly over that Ontario Health Center. Understand that is the same pattern of conduct and acting via that company, which is engaged in monitoring American citizens. And I will go ahead and document that. This is documentation of that. I will go ahead and show you what is an image of the guise under which federal group stalking and monitoring is ongoing. And that is Alaska Airlines threatening American citizen, monitoring an American citizen, acting on behalf of the state for purposes of what is federal group stalking and monitoring. It's 10:40 a.m. And that is additional audible. It's the same conduct. It's called amplification of plane activity. That's P.O.C. 10:48 a.m. That's a helicopter again. And again, that's stalking, and that audible activity is for purposes of monitoring. The state's fake sun is for purposes of monitoring. You monitor with light activity, that's audible activity, and you do so while in relevant position. The state flying in a circle, like the psychopath, that's literally a psychopath in a helicopter. And that's psychopath conduct, okay? You have to break that conduct down. Think about what they're doing. They're flying a helicopter over an American citizen. I'm a 5'5" female. Engaged in what is documenting a government, but you have to think about what they're doing. That is a psychopath, and they're doing so while a fake sun is over the same location. That's not funny. That's a psychopath, though, and that's a sex offender, okay? That's the state acting directly. It's 10:50 a.m. All right, I want to make sure that I verbally recite the license plate of the third-party group stalker whose image I did capture engaging in crossing a path under the state's fake sun after I have documented the people of the state acting via bright view, engaging in what is tree trimming, which is nothing but a means of substantial audible activity under the state's fake sun while they're in a relevant position, and using those vehicles for light activity as well. This is a license plate. It's captured in the share drive, which I share for the public with regard to documenting not only the P.O.C. but the specific actors, identifying the entity that's acting directly and vicariously. And this license plate is 8JSV935. Just want to make sure it is captured in image, but I want to make sure I recite it on this podcast. All right, it is currently 11:39 a.m. Images that I just captured and video that I captured, but speak immediately to what happened about 60 seconds ago is the flashing of light, which is directed light, while I am standing at station number 1. This is the desktop computer inside of Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, and again, the state's light source is directly over this venue. Moving to the front, exactly where I've captured it before, as I'm at the venue entrance. That is the ongoing stalking with the light source. That's directed light as flashing light appears while group stalkers, which I take a picture of, are maintaining presence and relevant position inside of the venue. That is impossible light activity while they are in and around the path. Understand that is intentionally occurring. That is group stalking. Group stalking also inside of the bathroom, which I captured, which was the third-party creation of audible activity, just so you understand the ease with which they engage in what is sexually violent P.O.C. The ongoing elements and the hallmarks have been established with regard to what the state is engaged in, and while that third party is inside of the private space, which is the restroom, in relevant position, creating audible activity, engaging in what is direct presence in the path and crossing the path, occupying any stall, and then as you walk out of the stall, that's crossing a path. As they enter the bathroom, entering inside of any stall, that's crossing a path. Maintenance in the path, and this is in close quarters inside of the bathroom, and this is all intentional positioning, acting on behalf of the state in concert with the people of the state who are surrounding and monitoring to that activity that is occurring inside of that private space. Again, this is all that which is in no way ordinary conduct. It is occurring under all of the established elements with regard to the state stalking with light, the state stalking by aircraft, the state stalking by police, fire, and ambulance, the state engaged in ongoing use of what is engineered light, directed light, which is also occurring inside of this venue. That is P.O.C., and that is what I captured. That's a sample of what this venue is engaged in as I'm on the desktop, as I turn on my communication devices, as I Bluetooth information, as I upload information, everything that I'm doing, they maintain real-time awareness of it. And this is what you are looking at on the cameras. They're not just walking by, they're monitoring. They're doing so pursuant to a behavioral pattern, as I've already shown, using whatever means that they have to create noise, including repeated slamming of the door. Understand that is the same psychotic conduct as for example, the third-party group stalker in an Ontario public works vehicle slamming around stuff while they are monitoring as I'm outside. It is the same exact behavioral pattern occurring indoors, and this is the use of the trade, the business, whatever you are engaged in relevant position under the state's light source, where you have what is directed, engineered light occurring inside of that atmosphere, inside of that environment around the targeted individual, and that is federal group stalking and monitoring. This is Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. It's 11:42 a.m., and that is P.O.C. As I remain, it is literal documentation of monitoring conduct on camera. P.O.C. That's audible activity that I just captured, and the state's fake son. And what you're looking at is another old biddy, understand, and she's monitoring. Present under the fake son walking her dog while there is impossible light activity. That's the public entity's means of monitoring. The state's light source remaining present all day long, as has already been documented. This is just speaking to everything that I already documented, specifically this morning, as I am showing how the people of the state maliciously engage in monitoring American citizens inside of any commercial vehicle, engaging in whatever supposedly professional activity, which is serving whatever company or business or trade or whatever it is that you do for a living. Understand you're doing it in relevant position under the state's light source, and or while stalking with light, because federal group stalking and monitoring is occurring at nightfall as well, and where it is quote unquote cloudy and or raining, and the state's fake sun is concealed because the state's light source the state engages in busting out with a fake sun literally at the drop of a dime. So you have what is the ongoing elements, and you are seeing how it is those elements are at all times, present under any circumstances, which is federal group stalking and monitoring and criminal facilitation and sexually violent monitoring conduct by the people of the state, acting pursuant to those companies, businesses, engaging in whatever conduct, which in no way is any sort of defense or even legally relevant under that federal prosecution, which is where the criminal elements of monitoring control. This is speaking to the malice with which a public entity operates and the malice with which the people of the state engage in monitoring American citizens vicariously on behalf of that public entity. It's currently 4:03 p.m. and that is a picture of what I captured while the state is flying over 280 North Lemon Apartments, and you have a group stalker on the opposite side of this column wall while the state's directed light, that is engineered light, aiming underneath the walkway, aiming onto the surrounding surfaces as well, like the Ontario Senior Center. There is what is impossible light activity and shadows. This is why you aim light, because those shadows and the movements of those shadows, that's called light activity. That impossible light activity, which is directed light, impossible light activity meaning when I'm looking at a third-party group stalker who is walking by or skating by or riding by, and their shadows or reflections are appearing in all manner of locations. And that's what a third-party group stalker, who is, by the way, either over or under the age of majority, which does not matter either. You do not have to be over the age of 18 in order to engage in the P.O.C. And understand that. And all the state needs is presence. This is how you prosecute the public entity, because that's how it operates. And so any presence, any conduct, in any way helping that corrupt government to monitor an American citizen, and what you claim to be doing is absolutely irrelevant. The superseding interest is that target individual that's being monitored by the government, and that is the ongoing documentation as what is shown. And so while they maintain real-time knowledge of what I'm doing on my communication device, the psychopaths inside of Ontario OVITT Family Community Library patrolling back and forth by the books. I'm looking at the new nonfiction area, fantasy horror. They're patrolling over here, while you have what are literally, it's impossible how a group stalker on a skateboard nowhere near what is the door over here near the senior center closer to me, and that reflection is moving back and forth while the skateboarder is nowhere even over there. This is the state literally engaging in all manner of manipulation of the environment. That's called light activity. That's called visible activity. And it's also that which is impossible to naturally occur. That is what characterizes a public entity's monitoring conduct. It's impossible conduct with light. It's impossible conduct with what is audible activity, and that which is occurring it's impossible for the entity to do it without the people of the state. Understand that as well. They are necessarily engaged in the state's criminal system. This is, it's currently 4:06 p.m. And this is the state's maintenance of presence. Understand where I took the picture of the state's fake sun this morning when I'm focusing on group stalker and Ontario Public Works vehicle. Where's the state's fake sun? Hiding behind the trees? It's not hiding anywhere. It's right there over my head. And it's over the senior center. When I go to the opposite side, meaning as I walk what is west along the same line to go toward the Wells Fargo building, where's the state's fake sun? Over 280 North Lemon Apartments. Where is it right now? As these group stalkers know. And let's get their pictures. Make sure I get these little pictures. There you go. What's up, bro? These are little psychopaths. That's how the state monitors. There you go. And that's why the state is tampering with the phone as well. That's P.O.C. And that's not a distraction. I'm going to tell you what I was going to tell you anyway. That is the state protecting the identity of group stalkers who, with simultaneity to what I'm speaking to, engage in crossing path. That's group stalking on skateboards under the state's fake sun while the state is tampering with my communication device. Okay, so that is the pattern of conduct as well. Engaging in any kind of activity under the state's fake sun is P.O.C. Engaging in any pattern of engaging in the pattern of conduct where the state is engaging in vicarious conduct through those third parties who maintain presence. And again, third parties are not necessarily over the age of 18. Those were literally a bunch of monitoring minors who are engaging in the behavioral pattern. Pay attention to that. The state engaging in substantial audible activity via little prepubescent monitoring minions who use their skateboards under the fake sun, and the state engaging in trying to protect them. That's criminal obstruction of justice, while the psychopath is listening to your documentation and engaging in acting through those group stalkers who are in relevant position, creating audible activity under the state's light source, and also creating light activity as they are moving underneath the state's directed light. That's P.O.C. And understand the fact that the state is monitoring or tampering with my phone is criminal obstruction of justice. Nothing wrong with my phone. That is the pattern of conduct. That, too, is directly incriminating those little prepubescent bastards. That's exactly what they are. They're criminals, and it's disgusting. I have no respect for parasites, and this is the prosecution of that entity acting through them. They know exactly what they're doing. They occurred at that time on purpose, and they engage in that criminal conduct, which is demonic, okay? This is shared by the entirety of the group. That is representing what every single last one of them understand: the old biddy walking the dog and the little teenagers on the skateboard. It is the pattern of conduct. That's the government. All right, so the state is relying on the outward appearance, like the police are when they're engaged in P.O.C., relying on some outward appearance, some presumption of legitimacy, which it does not have, especially at federal prosecution. The people of the state of California are relying on some presumption of legitimacy, of normalcy, which it does not have whatsoever. The entirety of the environment, the impossible conduct, the impossibility of what I am speaking to with regard to that environment, while they are maintaining presence, is not a coincidence. The ongoing tampering with my communication device, third parties online engaging in criminal obstruction, blocking videos that are in no way whatsoever should even be of interest to them. I'm looking at the sky, I'm looking at airplanes, I'm looking at light on the ground. That is letting you know what is the substance of that which the state seeks to conceal. That's why they're tampering with my phone, because I'm telling you exactly what is occurring. It's 4:10 p.m. and that is, as I stated, the state's fake sun remaining over as I captured it this morning when I walked toward Brightview. The state's fake sun is in that same position right now, okay? And that is just today. If you pay attention to what I published, what was yesterday, February 25th, I intentionally placed at the end of the video a comparison, looking at the state's fake sun directly over me at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, looking at the state's fake sun directly over me, where at or around the same time, actually before that time, at a totally different property, which is 435 South Bondview, compared to 215 East C Street, where they're engaging in ongoing presence and stalking with activity in that manner, where the state's fake sun is in its same position, central, over my head, while I am facing the same direction, which is south, at two distinctly different locations. While I am, again, that's P.O.C. While I walk to what is Brightview, that's what I'm saying. You're looking at the images and the videos. The state's fake sun is remaining all day long. The state is stalking, remaining all day long, okay? The people of the state are stalking and remaining all day long. Okay? It's 4:11 p.m. and that is P.O.C. And you want to recall where you see that fake sun? Where I am? And engaging in literally setting where I am, even dipping down low into Ontario OVITT Family Community Library so that light can be aimed inside of that venue, after remaining on the side of the venue all day long. Okay, yeah, it's 4:11 p.m. and that's P.O.C. All right, it is currently 7:03 p.m. and I just captured substantial video, and that is as I am being transported. I want to be clear. First of all, I exited the restroom of third-party facilitating venue Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. The people acting via that venue engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring for the entirety of the day, because they remain in relevant position, as I have been sitting on the side of the building and the state's light source on the side of the building, and then engaging and remaining for the entirety of that day. What I want to get is what is occurring right now, which is what was occurring while I was in transit and at the location of 358 Mountain Ono Hawaiian Barbecue. I'm also in transit as well. Literally, as I'm in the car with license plate 4WON432, third party group stalker Tracy Banks, engaging in what is relevant positioning. I'm in her car and she's driving, and while I'm standing outside talking to her and while we're in transit, the state is surrounding, as I'm stating in real time on video, using their emergency vehicles. The fire department is in front of, I'm in the car and I'm capturing video of what is the helicopter over. And understand, I captured that video because you see the the helicopter is at a very high elevation. The state is amplifying the activity of that helicopter that is in relevant position. The state is group stalking and doing so directly. Everything else that you're looking at is the state acting vicariously via the people of the state. All right, the state is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, flying over me in helicopter. This is at 6:03. The state is amplifying that audible activity of that helicopter that is way up in the sky, but it is over the car in relevant position, while the state is directly in front of the vehicle as it is driving south on Lemon, and that is the fire department, whose vehicle lights were all on and they were sounding their sirens, and also surrounding, they were at the opposite end of what is C Street. There's a turn circle, you know, the famous turn circle where I'm at, where the state's fake sun is there and remains there and then moves back as I go to the senior center. Then it's over that building, goes back and forth. We've been there, done that. At the opposite end of the turn circle on the, we'll say the south side of Euclid Avenue, that's called being in alignment to where I am at that turn circle. That is the state also using its lights in relevant position, and the state was surrounding with sirens and lights and helicopter. That's group stalking and monitoring, federal group stalking and monitoring by the state, and that is what I capture in video, and I'm describing what's occurring. The fire department stops its lights on the truck as I begin narrating P.O.C. with the video and in operation, and we do drive to what is a couple of venues, Sam's Liquor, and then we drive to, and I'm documenting third-party group stalker license plates, just because the ongoing pattern of conduct is underway, and I mean, my documentation is complete, but why not identify as many criminal, like perverted, psychopath, sex offending group stalkers that are monitoring? Why not? So it is engaging in ongoing ceaseless criminal conduct, and so I documented third parties. I mean, literally, where the public entity is monitoring, you can literally just go down any street and identify address, license plate, image, because the public entity monitors via the people. So anyway, we went to Sam's Liquor, and then we drive to what is the parking lot of Stater Brothers. We do not actually go into that venue, but I'm being monitored. I don't have to go inside of Stater Brothers to be subject to monitoring. Ontario Village Shopping Plaza engaged in monitoring. The state is always stalking via aircraft, so I'm just speaking to where I'm going, and as monitoring is underway. And then we ultimately arrive at what is the Ono Hawaiian barbecue at what is 358 Mountain Avenue, more than likely. That's the street that it's on. And that is in the plaza of the, there's a Hobby Lobby over there. It's, what else is over there? I cannot recall instantly, but that is the address of that venue where I was directly present. I was immediately at that venue. Understand, they're all in relevant position in traffic. Literally, psychopaths are engaging, and because I'm documenting, so they do like weird conduct. You have a car that outwardly you're going to look like, but when you're aware of what is monitoring conduct, you are piercing through what you'll understand to be very, very shallow guises of what is monitoring, and that which is of a psychopath targeting somebody you don't even know personally on behalf of the government that is monitoring you. So what you have are third parties that are like sitting in between, this is just one, for example, sitting in between traffic lanes diagonally, and had their hazard lights on. And the moment that I see those hazard lights, I mean, immediately those hazard lights are turned off, and they proceed as though they're just switching lanes. They're creating light activity, and they're acting in concert, creating that form of flashing light. That's light activity. While, mind you, all the third-party group stalkers are also in the traffic lanes. All of their brake lights and headlights are on. That's light activity as well. But the hazard lights, that's creating additional light activity. And with simultaneity to my awareness of when I'm looking at them in that direction, and that those hazard lights turning off and they continue like they're changing lanes or whatever, regardless of how you want to actually give a rationale, this is just my speaking to my ongoing knowledge of the malice with which these psychopaths monitor, okay? But regardless of how you want to provide any rationale, a third-party group stalker could say, anyway, no, I did have my hazards on because I was trying to make sure nobody hit my car while I was in. You can say whatever you want. It's the creation of light activity in relevant position while in maintaining presence on behalf of the public entity that, as I shown in this video playlist, is stalking via airplanes and helicopters, literally from place to place, from Ontario OVITT Family Community Library to Ono Hawaiian barbecue, okay? Replete with what is a pattern. You've got another light source in the sky that has that coincidence of being directly over me where I'm going. And not only that, you're talking about the sun and the moon over the same location. over the same location. Understand that's the same thing I documented at Economy Inn, for example, at Woodside Senior Apartments, for example, the state's fake sun and the state's fake moon over the same property. The state's fake, and that is Woodside Senior Apartments, and that's captured on video. Pay attention, it's already published on YouTube. The state's fake sun and the state's fake moon over what is Ontario Museum of History and Arts. Pay attention, that is published already. The state's fake moon and the state's fake sun, again, directly over me. Obviously, I'm there to capture it, and it remains in that position at Economy Inn as well, okay? That is the center of the universe. Literally, everywhere that I am, the sun rising, setting, and the moon where I am. Okay, that is not the sun and the moon, first of all. And that is also another indication of what is stalking with light in a very crazy manner, okay? The same psychopath stalking in a helicopter is the psychopath dragging this light source around, and as you saw in the video, keeping its same position in that corner of the window. In relevant position aim, that's light activity. Understand, that is a method of, what's the significance of a small looking moon in your window? It's a method of light activity. It's light on the surface. Do you understand that? That's what the significance of that is. Any manner of light. That's how psychotic this entity is. This is how obsessive it is with monitoring. And let me let you know, in this seriously ridiculous and obvious manner that, just results in more identification of third-party group stalkers who are going to be prosecuted federally. It's because I had my phone on. Because I kept my phone on, they really, really honed in. But the state is always stalking like that, okay? But you have what is me engaging in creating legislation. I'm literally describing what's a third party. Everything you're seeing in video is a third party. Sitting in traffic, driving the car that I'm inside of, working at the restaurant that I go to, working at the library that I am a patron of, working at the bank that I enter inside of, living at any apartment complex where I am remaining, working and or occupying a hotel room at a hotel where I am. You're group stalking. The public entity that is monitoring me is group stalking and doing so by your presence. And not only that, you are intentionally present. This is why they're engaging in that identical behavioral pattern. It is entirely malicious. It's also demonic group conduct. It is a matter of public corruption. It is not a coincidence that you have what I capture in video, yet again, a helicopter flying over the car that I'm inside of, while the fire department is in front of me, and also actually is in both directions, surrounding, all right? And also, let me be clear, the people of the state of California are surrounding, not only by the one that's in the car with me, but those that are driving around. That's being surrounded. I'm speaking to the state's conduct specifically, because that is that's federal group stalking and monitoring. The public entity acts via the people, and that's why you just take down names, literally. It doesn't matter where you are, what you call yourself doing. Guess what you're doing in a relevant position? You're doing it where the public entity is able to monitor, and there is no legal excuse or defense for that, and let alone the fact of the incredible occurrence of what is not the sun on no day, no way, Jose, that I have shown. That's an incredible circumstance, removing any coincidence. And then what you also see is on that same street, that having that same tendency of remaining over me where I am. And not only that, you're talking about, the hundreds of videos that I've shown where the state is literally remaining on HOLT Boulevard, remaining over a specific building on Euclid Avenue, the state's moon. That is not the moon. That is a light source. Understand that. So get past the title that I'm giving it. I name it a fake sun because it's literally not the sun. It is entirely fake, and it's ridiculous. It is that's psychopath, okay? That's a psychopath. Who even thinks of that? A psychopath does. But understand, get past the title. It's a light source. Understand, it's a method of light, not a coincidence. Every single last one of them that I documented in the parking lot. Understand the third party in the background. You're going to she's not concerned. Tracy Banks is not concerned about my safety. This is the same one engaged in criminal summoning. This is the same one engaged in criminal kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice, acting in concert with that fictitious prosecution, engaging in that malicious prosecution, criminally summoning the police after she engaged in hitting me and I am defending myself. She's asserting false allegations, acting in concert with the police, Ontario Police, J. Burnett, number 19993. With Ontario Police, who pulled out his phone and played the recording that occurred in the audible activity, with the audible conversation, which was an argument that occurred inside of her supposedly private residence at Woodside Senior Apartments. How did he have that recording? Because I'm being monitored there, and I'm being monitored today. She does not care whatsoever about my safety. okay? And no mother that is aware of the fact that you are in any way being subject to that sort of harassment, kidnapping, because that's what it is. They have no legal basis whatsoever. They're no different. It's worse because it's the government that's kidnapping you while they're monitoring you because they want you to shut up about it. And she's engaged in conduct which is acting in concert with that. It is aiding that, all right? And then she engages in what is, and you're listening to what is malicious conduct. She is creating audible activity in relevant position under all the same facts and doing so under the guise of being concerned about my safety, which her conduct, her documented criminal activity demonstrates her absolute disregard for my actual safety. She does not care about my safety. She's monitoring me under the same circumstances. She's not excluded whatsoever, okay? That's the malice with which the public entity acts via the people, okay? And that's just a third party whose name I know. It does not matter. She can buy food. She can give me $5 here and there. She can come, oh, do you need anything? She's the same one that does not care that I'm sleeping on the street. She knows exactly why I'm sleeping on the street because I moved out of my apartment away from her when I figured out something very fishy was going on in my home. And that's because the government was in my home. All right, via her presence and her criminal conduct, all right, and her sexually violent conduct, violating me and monitoring me for years unbeknownst to me. All right, engaging in acting in criminal facilitation with that entity that now is visibly present by planes and helicopters. Wasn't doing so before when I was unaware of it. But the more I document, the more aggressive, the more hostile, the more threatening that entity becomes. All right, to the extent of kidnapping. Now that is speaking to that which is a direct threat to the life. Monitoring via police, that is speaking to that which is a direct threat to your life, intending to intimidate, intending to harass, intending to harm while you're monitoring. All right. Monitoring and stalking via helicopters and aircrafts. It doesn't matter if it's Alaska Airlines. It does for purposes of federal prosecution of that third party, but for purposes of using a commercial airlines engaging in that same stalking behavioral pattern, it's no more friendly. It's no less abnormal. It is entirely threatening. And it is that which is designed to intimidate and frighten and terrorize. All right, while you're stalking because you're monitoring with communication devices, so that everybody else in relevant position, i.e., the people of the state, can monitor you as well, which, by the way, acting via the people of the state is designed to intimidate, to frighten, to harass. All right. So every single last one of them that I got on video, including that which I captured on video, that is informative. That's why I recorded that argument. Understand that argument in that car is audible activity in relevant position. The state is aiming in possible light. Not only are third-party group stalkers crossing path, which is relevant positioning, light activity as they are in movement in their vehicles, the state is adding to that light and inside of the vehicle, okay? This is P.O.C. And you're also listening to the substance of that argument, which is entirely superficial on her part, but entirely informative as to the malice with which the public entity acting vicariously through the people, because this third party does not care about my safety whatsoever. This third party demonstrated, it is established as such based on evidence already accumulated and published. This third party engaging in monitoring me, and also that which is in direct conflict with what any true, genuine mother that is ignorant of what is actually happening, which is impossible. Understand, where the government is monitoring you, there is no ignorant person in relevant position. They're all monitoring. That's how the government monitors. But let's give a hypothetical where there was a genuinely ignorant, an innocent, if you will, bystander who is a mother and is aware of the fact that helicopters, why is this helicopter flying over my daughter why is this helicopter flying over my daughter when she's at my house in my apartment? Why is this helicopter flying over my apartment? Okay, why is it circling over my apartment? Why are these airplanes surrounding it? Why are they arresting her? Why is she in jail and she didn't even get a trial? Why is it that she is being repeatedly harassed by complete strangers? Why was her car stolen by the police, the same ones who are engaged in kidnapping her and stalking, because that's what the definition is when you're everywhere that someone is at? Understand, they're just stalking as a group while they're wearing police uniforms, okay? Same thing that the people of the state of California are doing. They're stalking as a group while they're wearing what is different clothes. Okay, they're the same group engaged in that same criminal conduct, okay? But this is not a mother that is of that at all, okay? Engaging in what is essentially the intentional infliction of additional harm to the target individual, a manner of blaming me for documenting, all right? A matter of blaming me for that which I cannot control. The public entity is monitoring. And so you document, and any person with any sense would do so, especially because there is no resort in a court of law where that court is in that jurisdiction where that public entity is monitoring. There is no court in California, in other words, where you can enforce your rights. It is a matter of federal law, okay? This is the public entity's criminal conduct and seeking to conceal it. You are not going to get your rights redressed in any state court whatsoever. That is the pattern of conduct. And so that's not what she does. She's engaged, Tracy Banks engaging in blaming me, which is the substance of everything that she's saying. Oh, you're running up. No, I'm not. That third party was leaving out of the parking lot as I'm turning on my vehicle. I'm running while they are driving in an opposite direction so I can make sure I get behind that car and get that license plate. All right. And not only that, let's be clear. There is no, what she is saying is based on this false premise, this fallacy that the government's not monitoring while helicopters are following me from one place to another. That's the public entity's conduct. That's the prefacing conduct of the people of the state. All right. If anybody hits me, which, by the way, that is the pattern I have documented, being hit by a car by a third party group stalker while I was en route to filing my writ of my petition of mandamus against the San Bernardino Superior Court. Understand that was a violent criminal act of obstruction of justice while the state was engaged in stalking by plane and helicopter, stalking by plane, fire, and ambulance, and that third-party group stalker intentionally hitting me while I had the right-of-way in the crosswalk. Not only, even though you have the right of way as a pedestrian, even if you walk across when you're not supposed to be, they're supposed to stop. I had the right of way. This third party intentionally look in the opposite direction when she is supposed to be stopped at a red light at the corner and proceeds to slowly continue driving, and it results in hitting my person. Understand that was intentional conduct. All of this is attributed to the state. Understand that's the true identity of the people of the state. That's the real identity, while they're sitting around also holding little baby monkeys in their newborn infants and walking their dogs with old ladies and teenagers with acne on their face. Understand those are all irrelevant pictures of what is no way accurate of what the third party group stalker is engaged in. It is engaged in an identical behavioral pattern which is demonic at its root and which is desperately criminal and violent. The people of the state engage in kidnapping. The people of the state engage in sexual violence while I'm inside of that jail. The people of the state engaged in ongoing criminal defamation. They are engaged in theft of my property. They are engaged in ongoing criminal acts of harassment and threats. They are engaged in criminal summoning so that I can be kidnapped. That's the true identity of the people of the state. Okay? And they're engaged in such conduct. And as Tracy Banks is addressing and failing to do so, this is out of the mouth of a third-party group stalker, which is audible activity. But I'm breaking down the substance of what she's saying because it is also that which does not jive with what the state is legally engaged in and the P.O.C. as it is established. Any third-party group stalker that is monitoring you is not ignorant of your presence. And guess what? Engaging in any criminally violent conduct is not suggesting in any way that they are actually ignorant. The pattern of conduct is demonstrating that they are monitoring. They're engaging in the criminal elements in doing so. And Tracy Banks is doing nothing but creating audible activity stating, which was not even true, that targeted individual, that third-party group stalker was exiting after remaining for a prolonged period, aiming their headlights in the direction inside of that restaurant in relevant position. All right, creating light activity, molesting with light, acting in concert with the state. That's also aiming impossible light. That's directed light. That's the state's engineered light. It's much more vibrant, much more concentrated, and it's moving all rapidly across the surfaces at the same time that third-party group stalkers are driving past with their cars, because that's supposed to be headlights, and it's not headlights, all right? This is the state engaging in concerted conduct with the people of the state. And while she is saying, oh, it's okay if you want to document, it's just that you're running after, and I'm not. Yes, I have engaged in getting third parties in their faces. This is not what that was. But not only that, there is no bashfulness with regard to documenting disgusting criminal activity. And I will not in any way, and I have shown that. You can kidnap me. You can steal my property. That's fine. I'm going to document you. You are not going to stop that whatsoever. And engaging and understand what she is stating is reasonably construed also as a threat. It's coming out of the mouth of a third-party group stalker. It's coming out of its audible activity in relevant position. It's serving to monitor me, and it is suggesting that I will get hurt. And understand that is coming out of the mouth of the government that's monitoring you, okay? Everything that is said, everything that is done in relevant position is serving that purpose, and it is reasonably construed as a threat. But what she is actually doing is she's monitoring me, but she's speaking as though she's some concerned mother, which she is not. No real mother would in any way stand idle engage in any of the conduct that I've documented, but also stand idle while I am subject to that which she is fully aware of. Sleeping in her car while helicopters were doing the exact same thing, flying over the car, circling over the car, third-party group stalkers sitting in their cars with headlights on both sides of the street, on the outside of the car at all hours of the night, people hitting on the car, the state dropping items on the car, which is audible activity. This is that which I've documented. She's not concerned about my safety. She's not concerned, not whatsoever. Now, while the public entity is engaged in that which is unprecedented, is engaged in that which has never been addressed by federal legislation, no mother that is genuinely concerned and not engaged in the criminal P.O.C. is going to stand idle. I mean, you're going to find something. You're going to report something. You're going to do something. All right? That's what I'm saying. It is P.O.C., and that's why I recorded that argument, because it is informative. It is educational, and there is nothing that you can know a guise under which you are engaged in any of the criminal elements where it is anything other than that. That applies to the City of Ontario. That applies to Brightview. That applies to Omnitrans. That applies to Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. That applies to every company you can think of that are engaged in the systems, the state's criminal system, which is the pattern of conduct for federal group stalking and monitoring. And not only is there no guise, so you're stripping down, there is no guise under which, but understand they're maliciously acting, relying on that guise while outwardly appearing like they're normal, like they're not focused on you, like they're doing something else. It's malicious conduct and it's demonic. All right. So it is currently 7:26 p.m. And that's the substance of the videos that I captured. The images that I captured of license plates. And so I will go ahead and I actually want to do that while I am on here. Give me 1 second. You know that P.O.C. is ceaseless. Everything you hear is audible activity. State is stalking via aircraft. I started this podcast with that. You already know that. It's all P.O.C. But give me a second. Let me see. To capture in the videos, I am reciting third-party license plates, and in addition to that, I'm also capturing, even if you can't see the license plate, you're seeing the position of third parties in their cars at nighttime, which is a method of it is aiming light as you're in traffic, as you are moving. This is group stalking in transit, in a private vehicle or in a commercial vehicle. It's the exact same conduct. And that's what you're seeing in the images as well, in addition to what is the license plates that I captured in images and on video, and 6VIJ 999, for example. Many of them, most of them, I captured. 8RGS 508. Oops, go back. And let's see, I have this one. Yeah, 8RGS 508 is correct. And again, outside of Ono Barbecue, they're just sitting around. Again, activity builds up, meaning, and by activity, I don't mean the term of art, I mean their presence. Ono Hawaiian Barbecue fills up with third-party group stalkers. And they are, again, everything that we say. So as I'm talking to Tracy Banks in her car, and well, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go eat? You want to go eat here? Understand, this is all monitoring. So third-party group stalkers, the state, the public entity knows where I'm going. Third-party group stalkers are already sitting in their car in relevant position. As we arrive, park in the parking lot, and they're all sitting in their vehicles in relevant position. When I start that video, and you see how I'm pointing out plane after plane after plane, there's 3 planes, there's 2 planes and a helicopter, actually more than 1 helicopter, and I'm pointing them out. There are 3 aircrafts that I'm facing, and the state's fake moon is behind me. They're all sitting in their car, and we're doing so while the state was aiming light, and so that's why I captured that video. And that's also what prompted me to go ahead and get those license plates. 6LME032. 6TAZ, hold on, 6TAZ 554, I believe. Here's a group stalker that doesn't want to ride on the sidewalk. He wants to ride next to me under this little side walkway. That's what group stalkers do. There's a whole sidewalk over there. He drives all. He takes his bike all the way over here to drive. I'm sorry, I want to keep saying drive, to ride his bike right next to me in relevance. That's a means of crossing path. Understand that's what group stalking is. All they're doing is maintaining presence of the path on behalf of the government. 8 TAZ 554. That is the correct license plate, and that was at Sam's Liquor. In traffic, while the state was flying over by the helicopter and by stalking by the fire truck, that was 5 NSJ 591, 8 GSD 896. They're in traffic and they're monitoring in relevant position while the state was stalking by those emergency vehicles and by helicopter over my head. Yeah, 5 NSJ 591 or 0. It is a red, looks like a Dodge Durango. And they're also, I mean, they're all on traffic cameras as we turn from Lemon onto Holt Boulevard to drive west on Holt Boulevard. That traffic sitting at that traffic light, understand they're monitoring what is occurring while they're sitting at that traffic light. The state is stalking using the fire trucks. Sounding their sirens, using the lights, and the state is flying over by helicopter, okay? It's 7:31 p.m., and that noise in the background is another means of monitoring by the people of the state, creating substantial noise while group stalkers are walking past. That's the concerted conduct. They act in concert together, all of them as a group acting on behalf of the entity. It is serving the public entity's criminal purposes. It is an ongoing threat to the life, physical safety, liberty, and overall well-being of the targeted individual. And that is coming from 280 North Lemon Apartments. And that is what is a private residence, all of them engaged in monitoring a relevant position. You see the state literally flying over that apartment building all day long. Plane and helicopter and the state's fake sun remaining. And then what I captured in video tonight is the state's fake moon over the same location, okay? That's P.O.C. It's 7:31 p.m. Take a good gander at all those videos. That's documentation, and that's P.O.C. Okay, it is 7:47 p.m. and after I capture that video, understand the state that's monitoring, a couple of things I want to run through. The state that's monitoring knows that the camera stopped because I took like 10 videos. So my storage for my video stopped, but I took screenshots. And remember, in that video, the state is acting via the people, and the people are operating the lights all around me. That's literal stalking. I mean, they're literally flipping light switches on and off as I walk. It doesn't get any more threatening than I understand that's how government works. This is why you prosecute as profusely as you do the people and that entity acting through the people. You have the light is off. What I also capture, the state that knows, that's my point, that knows that my camera stopped because it's monitoring, immediately starts flying at a very low elevation over this parking lot where the city hall is, where the fake moon is. That's what I captured in screenshot. Understand it was directly in alignment at that same position while I was at 358 Mountain in that parking lot, and remaining in the window, remaining in direct relevant position, keeping that light source on the surface surrounding me. The surface is the window. The light source is that fake moon, and is engaging in movement, remaining at that same location. Understand, this is the scene I'm capturing as I took a picture of the senior center so you see where I'm at. That is the fake moon. The state's fake sun remaining in that same position during the day. All you got to do is pay attention, okay? Not only that, I took a picture of what are multiple shadows on the ground. You see I have got two shadows beside each other, and as I do that, this is what the state does again. And what I took a screenshot of is the state is flying at low elevation, and it's literally just flying in a circle. It flies over the parking lot, and then it turns over the top of what are Metro 102 apartments. Listen to that. Now it's proceeding to fly straight directly over the 280 North Lemon Apartments. That's relevant position as well. That's audible activity. That's light activity. And as I was capturing in screenshot, the state engaged in that same conduct, including flying and turning directly in alignment to me. And the street lamp comes on right in front of me after I captured what are my two shadows beside each other and my luggage bag. You'll see three shadows there. There's two of me and my luggage bag in the center. That's the multiple shadow conduct. The street lights coming on. Understand, this is demonic, all right? That is that which is inspired by Satan. It's a criminal monitoring system, but I'm showing you the hallmarks of what the state engages in, and understand that that conduct is demonic, all right? And while it is serving the monitoring purpose of the state. So understand the street light coming on, that's light activity. The multiple shadows on the ground, that's more than one light source aimed onto me, which is at all times, okay? And that's just an example of that which is also occurring during the day in the shade, all right, where you've got light manifesting, my shadow appearing when it's supposedly in the shade. And that also is another method of the same conduct, is opposed to a shadow appearing in the light. What you have is in the state's directed light appearing in any covered shaded, what's supposed to be a shaded area. The state also flashing light and just like rapid light moving around. Even inside of an apartment, the state was directing light onto the ceiling inside of apartment 51. That's what I documented, okay? Engaged in what I literally described as a spectacular light show, which is in no way entertaining or funny. It is entirely threatening and designed to terrorize and traumatize who was being monitored. But the state was doing that intentionally. Not only is that light activity in relevant position, while every single last one of them inside of that apartment complex and outside of that apartment were monitoring. That's why you've got that light activity. There is no explanation for that whatsoever. And you know I'm not making that up. I'm not making up planes and helicopters and police stalking. I'm not making up what is a fake sun. And I sure am not making up what was light. Literally like all manner, anything that you can fathom, like moving light manifestations on the ceiling, moving around, light appearing on the walls that are, and understand this is where the state's fake sun is above the apartment, and where the structure creates shade and not light inside of the window. And what I'm showing is what are shadows that are moving in an upward position. If you look at I've documented all of this, okay? The state has engaged in that same conduct outside. I'm literally capturing what is the same behavioral pattern at every type of venue, including when you are homeless, sleeping on the street. Okay, this is the behavioral pattern. This is the state monitoring, and doing so, it is understand every single element that it's engaged in, the way it engages in. This is a satanic system. The state of California is practicing satanic conduct for a criminal purpose. Okay, the lights all around me outside in public coming on and off. Ontario Library lights coming on, and doing so with simultaneity to my operation of my communication device. Not only is that stalking with light activity, that is the creation of light. Stalking and touching while they're doing so is license 8TGJ412. They're touching while they're crossing path. They're monitoring. So that's not your ordinary crossing path. They're touching while doing so. That's a sex offender. And that is the government that is engaging in that sexual violence through that third party, who is intentionally crossing path, who knows exactly what I'm saying when I'm saying it. Multiple shadows appearing on the ground. Not a coincidence when you're in relevant position. You're monitoring. All right. So what you have are all manner of light activity all around. That's demonic. Do you understand that? Street lamps coming on. And this is not new. This what started when I started documenting living in my car in Diamond Bar. I would walk down the street, walk to the park from my car that was parked on Valley, and I would walk to the park, the Crossroads park, and at nightfall, and the street lamps would come on and off, specifically at the corner of La Ramada and Temple. That street lamp in particular, and it did not do so. I'm not talking about some randomness. As I crossed the path of that pole, meaning as I walked past it, just like I'm telling you what the state is doing in this parking lot, as I walk past it, as I approach it, as I'm in its presence, the light comes on. That was the same conduct when I'm walking to a third-party facilitating venue, Calvary Chapel, Golden Springs. As I would walk to that venue from, I believe it was San Glenn Park or something similar of that name. I have this all documented, but it's another park in Diamond Bar where I was parked and stayed engaged in the same stalking conduct. Here comes another sex offender. License plate 8DYF581. They do not touch me with their headlights, but they're crossing path. They're creating light activity and intentionally do so. That's called patrolling. That's all they're doing. They're just driving around, creating light in the atmosphere. That's monitoring conduct, okay? At Metro 102 apartments, where the state's flying over their apartment building, directly incriminating every last one of them psychopaths that are in relevant position right now, while the state's flying all over the place and turning lights outside on and off. They're monitoring, okay? That's why I literally went up and down the street and read all those license plates, which the targeted individual is absolutely free to do, documenting as many names as possible of the people of the state that are monitoring with and on behalf of that public entity. That's how you identify the people of the state that are monitoring with that public entity. But anyway, that's what they deserve that. I've already gone up and down that street and got all kind of license plates on that street, parked outside of that apartment building. Anyway, this is that which is occurring right now, okay? And you literally have, I'm going to go back to my bottom line, is the state that was aware of my video stopping immediately starts flight, coming out of nowhere, okay? Already flying, you don't hear anything. Immediately as my video stops recording, though, audible activity is created where the state was flying at a very low elevation, all right? Very, very low elevation, and does so and then flies over Metro 102 turning, literally engaging in nothing but stalking, just doing donuts in the sky, flying straight and then turning in front of me. Recognize my videos. That's a behavioral pattern. They engage in that a lot. They're crossing path and they're flying and turning right in front of me. That's called relevant position. Okay. The entirety of the environment is speaking to. This is the this is the public entity that is blatantly showing the public how it monitors. And it is a psychopath acting with every last one of the people of the state of California whose license plate I've already documented. They're engaged in every single criminal act that continues to occur because it is ongoing criminal activity. And they just keep adding their names to the list. It is the same group, all right? It's the same entity acting through the same group, the people of the state. Whatever age they are, whatever address they have, whatever license plate number that happens to apply, it's the same group and they're all part of the same criminal ongoing activity. Okay, it's 7:55 p.m. and I had to stop just to capture that because I think that was fantastic documentation. And as I told you, that's exactly what I captured. As I stand here, number one, that's routine conduct. The state stalking with light as I'm walking around. Understand how ominous that is. All right. This is the state that is right now literally patrolling over the parking lot where its fake moon is present and the same position where its fake sun is present during the day, and patrolling meaning they're flying one plane after another after another. That's what you're hearing. All right. While the street lamps outside are turning on and off. That's an entirely demonic atmosphere. And they're listening to, that's a psychopath, not only engaging in demonic conduct, but it's criminal monitoring. This is an entirely corrupt entity, all right, that is acting to monitor American citizens, stalking American citizens. And I am one who is documenting, and I'm literally giving you a breakdown, play by play of how they do it, and let you know the ways that they're doing it is showing you what is demonic. This is literally out of the pit of hell. These are tactics of that which is satanic. All right. This is not your ordinary light activity. This is that which is a dark environment. OK, an ominous, dark. It's a twisted and wicked environment, in other words. And so with regard to that, again, that's just context. With regard to what they're doing, it's criminal. It's monitoring. And understand all three elements are present: light activity and relevant positioning. The state doing it by aircrafts, as you are hearing. I mean, okay. I want you to listen to that because that's called stalking with activity. The state is amplifying the sound of a train. In doing so, as I continue to press buttons, that's what was continuously happening, which is always ongoing. That's called ongoing audible activity. The state does that as I sit at the museum, as I move around, as I do anything. That's called stalking. And doing so, what's the method? The sound of a train, okay? Which may or may not actually even be in motion. It's audible activity under any circumstances. The state is a psychopath. It's a stalker. It engages in amplification of activity. It engages in stalking with that amplified means of activity. And it literally engages in that which is how it's also been documented as literally analogous to playing a tape of noise, all right, in order to make sure activity is always ongoing. And doing so as I'm operating my communication device, that's monitoring conduct. What I pictured, took a screenshot of at 8:02 p.m. is the state's fake moon as I walk from that parking lot, which was right by the dumpster next to the senior center. As I'm capturing what is the state's fake moon on the opposite side of that building, okay? That is migration of the state's fake moon, again, like it does with its fake sun, as it is moving north. I'm walking back up toward the library from the senior center parking lot, at the 280 North Limit Apartments parking lot. I walk north, and that's what I capture as I stand by the tree at the same place where I sit all day long, and the state's fake sun moves in that impossible direction to remain for the entirety of a day, and then act like that is the sun that is setting as well. at that same location. And also understand that this is the placement of the state's fake moon at the same location where it places what is a fake sun. The sun and the moon are not in the same exact position. And also, by the way, they are not over the same plaza. Okay, that's not the sun and the moon. This is making the center of the universe where the target individual is. This is letting you know what the stalker is engaged in. Absolute obsessive paranoid level of stalking conduct. I am the center of the state's universe. All right, the state that is monitoring. I am the state of the universe. That's why you've got a moon over me where I am, at the same position where you've got this, what's supposed to be the sun, over where I am, and moving in all manner of directions. Literally, what I captured in that video is the state's fake moon in that same centered position over me. Just like as you see as a picture while I'm standing at the south side of this hallway beside the library. It's right there. And as I move back toward the Ontario Library on the side of the building, there it is right there as I point my phone straight up. And you could see it right there in alignment to me. That's literally it moving north and south. It was in this same relative position over me at the 358 Mountain Avenue, remaining in position inside of the window. That's light on the surface. Understand that's a method of light on the surface. And then while I'm also capturing over going down Holt Boulevard, and you have what is the light source maintaining presence that entire time from that location to here. There was no moon, by the way, where we were en route to the Stater Brothers to the Sam's Liquor. Understand that was a method of stalking with light while I'm inside of the car and keeping it directed in that manner and stalking with it while I had my phone on. This is why the state is always stalking. The state is always a psychopath and a sex offender. Literally you had the fire trucks on both sides, the state over in helicopter, and all those planes that I showed you while I'm standing in the parking lot of 358 Ono Hawaiian barbecue, because I had my phone on, all right? And all of them engaged in that P.O.C. And this is where the fake moon is pulled out. The state's light source by fake moon is that which I've documented. It's nothing new. Understand it is a mere method of light, like the state's fake sun during the day. It is a method of light. It is that which is not engaging in the molestation of my person. All right. That's what the state is doing with its fake sun. It's a sex offender in that regard. It's unlawful touching while you're stalking, and you're the government, and you're also stalking through the people who are touching all together because they're monitoring all together. And the people also like to touch with their means of light activity while they're monitoring. All right. Sickos that are touching all over, all right, totally ignorant of the ways in which federal law is going to correct and address that. Touching in any manner, let alone while you're stalking on behalf of a government, is absolutely egregious and disgusting criminal and perverted criminal conduct, okay? It is currently 8:10 p.m., and let me just be clear about what we're talking about here. And I'm going to go ahead and yeah, here we go. My bad. I should have known it's right above my head. I don't have to move. This is the state's fake moon, which I'm going to go ahead and take a screenshot of right now. And this is no different from where it is during the day. Okay. It is right here while I'm standing in the center of the, walkway here in between the Ontario Family Library, and on the opposite side as I'm facing what is east, on my right side, which would be south, the Senior Center and 280 North Lemon Apartments. Understand it's in this same position directly in front of me, over me, while I am south in that parking lot. And that's that same conduct that is literally moving as I am moving, okay, to maintain that central presence over me. And this is also what you can see in the images as I move from place to place, and I'm capturing what is a different vantage point, and it's maintaining that same centered presence over me. This is nothing but light activity, a method of light activity in the sky, and stalking with it remaining over my head. And this is while all the other hallmarks maintain. So I want to be clear, not only am I documenting what is stalking with light, it is in no way separate or distinct whatsoever. It is entirely tethered to the fact that the state is stalking by fire, ambulance, law enforcement, stalking by aircrafts, including helicopters, where I'm tending to let you know that, well, this is the light source that's remaining all day long, and I've shown and I've broken down and given examples and even visuals of literal stalking with light. And what is also occurring? The state stalking in those incredible manners as well, engaging in group stalking, in other words. The state group stalking by plane, helicopter, law enforcement, fire and ambulance, and engaging in the behavioral pattern while doing so, literally engaging in maintaining activity using those methods of, those incredible methods of stalking. That is directly relevant, is my point. It is also probative of the fact that the state is stalking with a light source. The state is also stalking via aircraft. As I moved to that parking lot in between the Senior Center and 280 North Lemon Apartments, the state was flying plane after plane after plane as I remained in that position, okay? And why? Because in what you have are the group stalkers of Metro 102 coming out into sight, all right? They're all in relevant position inside, hiding inside of their homes, monitoring as I'm walking down the street, and the state is acting via third-party group stalkers who are driving around, maintaining presence, and sitting around in their cars, and the state is stalking via aircraft. They come out as I maintain presence in that parking lot, the state turning on and off the street lamps, the state repeatedly flying over in airplane over that same location, and the state's fake moon, not right here over the walkway, it's right there on the, right over relative to where the city hall is, directly over me, all right? And that is seen in my picture as I am literally pointing my phone straight up in the sky, right in front of me, in order to capture that image. And that's what I'm doing right now. That's P.O.C, and this is the stalking with light at nightfall. And that is the ongoing pattern of conduct. It's 8:13 p.m., and I'll go ahead and stop there. It is P.O.C, that is P.O.C, and I will go ahead and upload it's like an additional 11 videos that I have of documenting P.O.C as I left from the library to ultimately Ono Hawaiian barbecue and then back to the library where now there is a fake moon. But this isn't new. It's just that I haven't I haven't actually captured that fake moon activity because I don't really, it is relevant and it is informative. I'm not going to say it's not really relevant, but the conduct is what is you're looking at, the behavior with that light source. It's the same tendency, and you're looking at where is it located. How likely is it that the sun and the moon are at the same location over the same location where what is supposed to be the sun is present all day long. And not only that, there is a pattern that I've already demonstrated, like I stated, of the state's light source, because that's not the sun and the moon, being directly over the same apartment building that I'm in, being over the same hotel room, literally. Economy Inn, the fake moon was in the center of the parking lot over my room, where my room was in the center of that venue. That was intentionally present as well for purposes of monitoring. And the state's fake sun during the day over the center of the parking lot over my room, all right? That is not the sun and the moon. That is literally the personification of the level of stalking conduct that the public entity is engaged in. I am the center of the universe, literally, and engaging in all manner of stalking conduct, including incredible manners of helicopters, and you've got what are all manner of aircrafts over the Ono Hawaiian barbecue while I'm pointing my camera just up in the sky so you can see what's going on above. All these group stalkers that are surrounding in their cars, using it as light activity while they're monitoring with communication devices, okay? That is what monitoring is, and it is an entirely satanic group system. It's 8:15 p.m. and also the last thing I want to address, I took pictures in addition to the state's fake moon as it's moving as I walk from the parking lot back to the side of the library in order to upload this podcast. I have what are the pictures that before I approached the street lamp, because it turned on as I approached it, and then it turned back off, and then again as I walk back toward the library it turns on again, and so that's what I'm taking a picture of. I point my camera up to show how the atmosphere is lit up as I approach that street lamp. That's called stalking with activity, meaning at my presence, light is created, which is visible activity. It is also element one. It is light activity. And that is what I also captured was group stalkers sitting on the bench right there while all of this conduct, which happens to be how you monitor, are present. Understand, they're not acting As two separate individuals, they're present on behalf of the state in relevant position. They're acting with the group stalkers inside of Metro 102 apartments. They're acting with the group stalkers that you heard on my podcast earlier, making noise behind at 280 North Lemon Apartments. They're all monitoring, okay? You've seen, as I've shown you in pictures, group stalkers sitting in their cars at the traffic light in alignment, driving through at the turn circle, crossing path, okay? At Ontario Town Square, they're in relevant position. No building, no ceiling, no door, no wall is any obstruction for the communication devices with which they are monitoring. This is why the state is creating light activity in such a demonic manner, because it is the creation of light in the atmosphere, which is central to monitoring with communication devices. This is why the state is doing it as I arrive at that physical location, which is for purposes of monitoring specifically. And that is also why the state is engaged in what is stalking with its light source. Okay, so the state is flying over, the state is creating light activity where I am, and the state is stalking with its light source in the form of a fake moon. While what I captured in my immediate environment are overweight, underage, third-party group stalkers monitoring with the state while it's flying repeatedly, plane after plane after plane. None of that is a coincidence. It's called P.O.C. And it is currently 8:17 p.m., and that is an excellent example of what I want to show at nightfall. This is it's P.O.C. and this has been established, but I think that this is with regard to my honing in on what is the people of the state and the malice with which they monitor, showing how there is nothing that you are engaged in. Particularly to the target individual that is prosecuting in a federal court of law, there is nothing whatsoever that you are looking at that any third party or state actor is engaging in that is anything other than engagement in the criminal elements of monitoring in relevant position. Nothing else. It is aiding and abetting a public entity's ability to monitor, and not only it's not coincidental, it is entirely malicious. It's a demonic monitoring system. Okay, it's 8:18 p.m. and that is P.O.C. All right, Erica Lorraine Spencer here. It is actually February 27th, 2021. It's Saturday morning, and I'm gonna dovetail off of what I documented last night. It's an ongoing criminal system. It's ongoing criminal activity. What I took as I left the side of the library where I clearly captured the state's fake sun as it migrated from over me in the parking lot at 358 Mountain Avenue at Ono Hawaiian Barbecue back to where I am at the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. And even in the parking lot, as I move north and south in the parking lot, it's maintaining that central position. East of me, moving north and south as I walk back and forth, keeping that same central. So you're talking about being on the opposite side of the building. That is movement of that light source. And it continues maintaining that presence, the state's light source, which is a fake moon. This is at nightfall. This is stalking with a method of light over my head in the sky as I walk to the museum. And that's what I capture as I'm standing on the sidewalk abutting the Ontario Health Center at 150 East Holt Boulevard. I take a picture of the museum so you see where I'm at. And that is the movement of the light source, which is south. Understand that. This is what the state does during the day with its fake sun. Okay? And it's maintaining that same central position over my head, nowhere near the Ono Hawaiian Barbecue, nowhere near what is which is on Mountain Boulevard. Okay? That's a distinctly different location. I'm not taking a picture of it relative to anywhere in that direction. It's centered over me. I am literally just pointing my phone up in the sky as it is directly over my head. And understand that's called relevant position. Everything that the state does for purposes of monitoring is in relevant position. This is why the state flies as it does, not only over my head, in circles around. That's called repeatedly crossing path. Being in the path is group stalking. That's what third-party group stalkers do everywhere, no matter what you're doing, no matter what vehicle you're in, no matter what device you're using to cross path, no matter what building you are inside of, being that a private or a public establishment. It's relevant positioning, and this is what the state does via aircraft, and this is what the state does with its light source. This is why the state's fake sun moves in a line literally over the senior center over to 280 North Lemon Apartments as I sit on the side of the library all day long. It's remaining in a line in relevant position, literally moving not actually moving because it's remaining all day long, but what you have as I capture pictures of it and as I move up and down inside of this covered hallway, which is supposed to be shaded. The state is aiming its engineered light underneath the shaded area on the side of the library, and the state's fake sun, as I've captured it, as I've shown, that is maintaining its light source in relevant position. And so the state's fake moon over me at 150 East Holt, which is substantial migration south to maintain that central position over my head. And I also captured third-party group stalker Omnitrans in relevant position, creating light activity at the traffic light, which is nothing but a method of maintaining presence while they are inside of a commercial vehicle, systematically monitoring on behalf of the state. And that is what I captured in images, the license plate and that bus number, engaging in the same criminal conduct as all of the rest of the people of the state and all of their modes of maintaining presence. And while I'm at the museum, it is chiefly relying on third-party group stalkers who are literally maintaining stalking presence on the sidewalk around the property, across the street, in their cars, sitting around the surrounding proximity of that museum, and also on the property of the museum, and the state, as I also captured, flying directly over me on the side of the building that I'm sleeping on. And that's what I also captured in pictures, as the state was flying in a plane directly over the museum on the south side of that museum where I sleep. That's also images that I captured while the state's fake moon followed me to that museum. This is the pattern of conduct for federal group stalking and monitoring, all elements being present. And what I want to speak to is this morning is what you have the state engaging in ongoing monitoring conduct, which is, let me also point out that which has already been documented, but I'm just pointing out everything that is ongoing. The state engaging in ongoing patrolling via helicopter as well, after I captured those images of the state flying directly over my head. And flying over my head is flying over my head even if I'm under a covered area of the museum outside. And this is, understand what monitoring is. You are being monitored while you're in the bathroom. Standing outside of the bathroom door is maintaining relevant position. You are in the path. When you're inside of the bathroom, inside of the stall, standing at the sink, standing around inside of the bathroom, you are maintaining relevant position. You're stalking inside of the bathroom and on behalf of the government. You are not there in your individual capacity, exercising your right to use the bathroom at your free will. You are monitoring on behalf of the state, and you're engaged in what is an unprecedented level of sexual violence while you're doing so. You are not in your own shoes. You're in the shoes of the government, and this is what the public entity is engaged in on a ceaseless basis, engaging in documentation of how a public entity monitors you inside of a private space, inside of any kind of venue, by the way, which monitoring is unhindered inside of any building, behind any door, wall, ceiling, floor, and that is the maintenance of presence in the path, okay? So today, February 27, 2021, the state flying over the museum, okay? And this is while I am at the museum, as I am walking from the museum to the Ontario Health Center, which is closed. And this is at around 9:17 a.m. And the state's fake sun is over that property, over the museum, and engaging in real-time motion north as I am walking north on Euclid Avenue toward the Ontario Health Center, and it's over each property there. The state flying over me in a third-party plane, which is Delta Airlines, use of creation of audible activity, while the state is also present directly via law enforcement, and that is through the Sheriff's Department at the Ontario Health Center, which as I go to is closed, is not open, but Ontario Health Center engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring via the California Highway Patrol, via the Probation Department, via Ontario Police, and via deputies of the jails. I've documented that as well. And also what you have is the Sheriff's Department present as I'm crossing the street under the fake sun while the state is engaged in that ongoing behavioral pattern of stalking via aircraft in a commercial plane that is a third-party group stalker, Delta Airlines, monitoring American citizens. And this is while the African-American with a bald head is getting inside of his vehicle. He is maintaining presence. He is under the present in relevant position monitoring, okay? And this is the state acting directly in that sheriff's Department vehicle, and that was license plate 1516154 at the Ontario Health Center, in relevant position both while I am at the museum and as I am walking off of the property of the museum, crossing transit, entering into the parking lot. As he's entering inside of his car, which is also the creation of audible activity, closing the car door. Everything the state does is deliberate. The state is flying over not once, once as I'm entering inside of the parking lot, and again after I approach the door of the Ontario Health Center, which is locked, shut, not available, and open. As I walk past again, so as I am crossing the path, that is a means of crossing the path, being in the presence while the targeted individual is walking past. That's another means of the same conduct of crossing path. And this group stalker in a sheriff's department uniform and vehicle engaging in crossing a path by remaining present, sitting in that vehicle, and doing so while the second plane, which is a Delta Airlines plane, as I looked up to observe what third party is acting with the state, providing instrumentalities of federal group stalking and monitoring, which the state is using to monitor and to threaten and stalk an American citizen. And this is what is occurring as I am walking from the museum to the side of the library. I do walk through the, I want to be clear, the Sheriff's Department vehicle 1516154, that's a license plate, is seen on the traffic cameras exiting out of the parking lot of 150 East Holt, engaging in federal group stalking that entire time. And on the traffic cameras, drives from Transit north onto Euclid Avenue and then proceeds east onto Holt Boulevard, crossing path in that manner as well. Understand impossible light activity while I'm standing in what is the shade, as I'm standing next to 150 East Holt, and that's shaded area, as third-party group stalkers in their private vehicles, as third-party group stalkers in their commercial vehicles, such as Omnitrans, and every other truck and or commercial vehicle that are monitoring via traffic, impossible light activity appearing on the ground in the shade. That's a means of the same monitoring conduct, while that sheriff's vehicle is also in the path, crossing path, turning onto Holt Boulevard as I'm standing at the crosswalk. I do proceed to Ontario Town Square, where I am also seen on the surveillance cameras, and the state's fake son is engaging in following me as I walk down that direction. So this is as opposed to its fake son moving directly north as I walk from B&G Plaza, for example, and across the street of Plum and up through in between Ontario Town Square and Metro 102 apartments at Plum through the parking lot of the City Hall, 280 North Lemon and Senior Center parking lot. The state's fake son is not moving in that direction, which is also not where the sun is going, but moving north in order to do so, in order to maintain that central presence over my head as I'm walking. The state's fake sun is over the Ontario Town Square. The state's fake sun is over that property as I am walking on the cameras, and third-party group stalkers are lined around Wells Fargo. Third-party group stalkers are on the property while engaging in the same conduct that the Sheriff's Department was, maintaining stationary presence as I walk past. That's called crossing path. They're doing the same thing at Wells Fargo, maintaining stationary presence in that line around the building under the state's fake sun that is maintaining central presence over my head as I'm walking across that property of the Ontario Town Square, and the state's fake sun and engaging in moving to be where I am on the side of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library now, where it is also maintained presence and moving in any manner of direction. Third-party group stalkers engaging in P.O.C. as I cross the street of Lemon in order to get to this side from Ontario Town Square to the library side. And as they are at that turn circle, what is impossible light activity, that is the state directing its engineered light onto the surface of the library entrance, which is light on a surface that is facing me, that's monitoring while they are driving past, okay? That's monitoring as they are systematically crossing path. That is intentional presence, that's concerted conduct, that's monitoring conduct. And this is this is occurring as I walk to where I am now, the side of the Ontario OVITT Family Library, where the state's fake sun remains for the entirety of the day. Group stalkers are inside of Ontario OVITT Family Library monitoring right now, and the state engaged in that ongoing pattern of conduct of its targeted practice of flying where I am in planes and helicopter. And so that's the state flying by aircraft over 280 North Lemon Apartments, not over the museum, okay, not over Metro 102 as I'm in the parking lot, flying directly in relevant position to me, right here over the pathway where I captured the state's fake moon last night, the same position where the state's fake sun is right now, and flying over 280 North Lemon / Senior Center Apartments, very targeted where it is. And that's P.O.C. I want to be clear again, that's law enforcement in the form of the Sheriff's Department, and that is license again 1516154. It is February 27, 2021, and I'm connecting this documentation because it is all the same ongoing criminal activity, and that is the P.O.C. All right, it is currently 6 p.m. on, again, February 7th, 2021, it's Saturday, and I am combining the 2 days. It is ongoing criminal activity by the state that is ceaselessly monitoring and stalking in concert with the people of the state who are third parties as they are monitoring with communication devices. And I captured a few things. The same documented criminal conduct with regard to the state stalking with its light source as I sit on the side for the duration of the day. On the side of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. I do go inside of the library and use the computer desktop inside of that venue, and monitoring is what I documented. That's why I uploaded to the share drive, which shows the screens on the computer where I'm opening up the browser Chrome, which again, the monitoring entity in Ontario OVITT Family Community Library is the vicarious aspect of that entity that is monitoring with the state. And on that communication device that I am using inside of that venue where the state's light source is aimed remaining on the side of that venue, moving literally from where I'm sitting over me to the entrance area as I am walking to that entrance door, and then remaining for the duration of the day as already shown in documentation. Understand everything that I'm documenting is pursuant to the ongoing presence of elements and that ongoing presence of those hallmarks, okay? So this is what is absolutely abnormal conduct, and that is literally proof of monitoring as I'm capturing those screens that are saying proxy error. They're making reservations for using the computer, and then the internet is working. There is no issue with the internet. That's monitoring, and it was a means of what is criminal obstruction of justice. And by the way, the psychopath that is listening to me document its criminal activity can engage in replicating that same conduct over and over again, and is nothing less than the same monitoring. And that is not a coincidence. Opening up the Chrome browser using the same internet source where it's telling me that I cannot use, or it's basically blocking my ability to get online. And understand, I was in the process of what was uploading a series of 11 videos about the state's stalking conduct as I left Ontario OVITT Family Library, and that substantial amount of documentation which the state engaged in a pattern of conduct. This is the absence of coincidence that you've got this proxy error, in seeking to obstruct my ability to document those videos. Of course, it did not. And again, the same internet available using another means, which is just going in under incognito window, as opposed to opening it up and regularly being internet being available. It was a means of blocking my ability to do so. And so as I open up the Mozilla browser, the same proxy error. Again, it's not an error in the same way that you're looking at any manner of flashing light. It's not a malfunction of the light. The light is not broken. It's called light activity. In the same way, what you're looking at on those screens that I uploaded, it's within a pattern of conduct. It's not an error. It's called monitoring. And that's what I documented while I'm on the desktop inside of that venue. And I do proceed to upload my videos in what are the, gives you a private window section option, or the incognito window option. And the same internet is available when using it in that mode, which is also speaking to what is monitoring. The internet, I also want to be clear, Internet Explorer, no issue with that one. I'm able to log on to that window, which is, by the way, the third browser. It's Internet Explorer, Mozilla, and Chrome. And Internet Explorer, no problem whatsoever. Internet Explorer is that which is incompatible largely with regard to the use of Google and YouTube whatnot, and that is also coming from what is the same internet source. So those two browsers are not available, and those, by the way, are the same ones that I routinely use. Okay, I'm just speaking to the details. It's all relevant. It's within the same pattern of conduct, and that is why I also documented those screens. It's more evidence of what is monitoring, period. And that is criminal obstruction of justice. It's monitoring, and it is also serving with the criminal motive of seeking to obstruct the target individual's ability to publish documentation of a public entity's unprecedented level of criminal conduct that directly threatens your life, physical safety, overall well-being, and your liberty, all right, as that public entity that's monitoring and stalking has engaged in kidnapping, okay? So that is criminal conduct, and that's what that documentation shows. That's the significance of those screenshots of those screens as I'm opening up those browsers that I routinely use on those desktops. That's not Wi-Fi internet. That is the desktops that are plugged in, and that was a means of blocking my ability to do so, frustrating that purpose of trying to upload documentation, which they are all engaged in monitoring, okay? Everybody coming in, reserving a computer, coming in and monitoring. Everyone that's working in there, in that side of that venue, they're monitoring, all right? While I'm inside of the venue and while I am sitting outside on the side of the building, underneath the side walkway where the state's light source remains all day long, they're monitoring. And so they remain in relevant position. Okay, so they are engaged in group stalking while they are inside of that venue and in relevant position acting on behalf of that public entity while it keeps its light source there. The other thing that I documented is pictures of what is a third-party group stalker who was on rollerblades. And the reason why I took that little maggot's picture, and I even gave a up-close picture via screenshot so you can see his face, representing the people of the state of California, the P.O.C. is indiscriminate, irrespective of your age, irrespective of your gender, irrespective of what activity you're engaged in while you're crossing path, creating audible and visible activity, and while the state is molesting my person with light as you are rollerblading past me. Underneath the walkway, in no position whatsoever of the state's fake sun is that ever going to occur, and it is also occurring while I am creating federal legislation and literally creating the law on my Microsoft Word app, which the state is monitoring the entire time. And I want to be clear, not only is that monitoring, that's engagement in the criminal elements of monitoring, that's the P.O.C., it is also harassment, and that is concerted conduct between the people of the state and the state that is aiming that directed engineered light onto my person at the same time that this group stalker is not rollerblading in all that area in the center of the walkway. He comes underneath at the moment that I am creating legislation having to do with third parties, which he is, engaging in that harassing conduct, which is also sexually violent. That's the absence of coincidence, and that is the P.O.C. And that is why I took his picture, and he is engaged in that, which the people of the state are all corporately engaged in together on a continuous basis. I am speaking to that, which is also how you are deducing the absence of coincidence and what is absolute intent and malice with which the people of the state are systematically monitoring that engineered light appearing as you're rollerblading, as you're walking by. That's called P.O.C., and that is the ongoing incrimination of the people of the state who are monitoring everything that I'm doing on my phone. And I also took images of the state's fake sun that was in the same position at that time as well. And what I capture next is what is video of the state's fake sun as I am at the museum at 5:33 p.m. And you're going to recall, and this is the cumulative value of the state's criminal conduct with its stalking with light activity in order to maintain light and to monitor in concert with the people of the state. And this is speaking to what that sheriff's office, sheriff's department, the African-American bald African-American male that was in the sheriff's department vehicle at the 150 East Holt, where the state's fake sun was directly over me at the museum as I get up, as I walk across the street, and the state's fake sun is moving about directly above my head on the same property at the museum. And Delta Airlines is a commercial airplane, a third party, acting in concert with the state as the state is using that plane, that third party's instrument of federal group stalking and monitoring. Delta Airlines is irreducibly engaged in the P.O.C., monitoring American citizens, threatening American citizens, and that brand is clearly captured as engaged in that. And that's what I also upload. And understand what I'm capturing in the video at 5:33 p.m. is the state's fake sun. As you can clearly see, the that which is supposed to be appearing as the sun, which is not the sun, and it's distinctly different location from remaining on the side of me where I am at the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. This is the third-party group stalker who's aiming headlights across the street where 214 South Euclid is. Go ahead, listen to this, because this is incriminating the sheriff's department. That little maggot that was flying over, I'm rollerblading past, that's a helicopter. And that's the third time that the helicopter flew directly over me. And understand, I'm on the opposite side of where I sleep at night, and that's why the helicopter is not flying over that side. It's flying over this side on the opposite side, on the north side of the museum. All right, and that's also what the state was engaged in as I turned off that video that I captured at 5:33 of the state's fake sun. That is speaking to everything that I'm speaking to right now. So that is the ongoing criminal conduct, and that is the targeting conduct, and it is also speaking to everything I document. So what I documented with regard to law enforcement engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring this morning under the state's fake sun at the same property, and at 5:33 p.m. you have what is not possibly the sun, the same cumulative value of that documentation. The state's fake sun remaining for the entirety of the day over on the side of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library, as my documentation has already shown, for the entirety of the day, and including remaining and engaging in what is supposed to be setting of a sun, after it remains in that same position over me all day long, while the state's engaged in that same targeting conduct that you hear as the helicopter flies over my head. That is going toward the people of the state of California. That's going toward Delta Airlines. That's going toward the state stalking via the sheriff's department. And that is what the state was engaged in at 5:33 in that video, and what I'm showing you as the state is aiming light onto the museum. Understand that is not the sun. That's in what is direct alignment to me as I walk from the side of the Ontario Family Library, and at 5 p.m. I go into the restroom. The state's fake sun is not over here in alignment to the museum. The state's fake sun is remaining over that property, changing the color and acting as though the sun is setting at the same location where it was in the morning, and remained directly over me for the entirety of the day on the side of that library. And then, as I've also documented, which is what also occurred, the state engaging in aiming light, which is not coming from the sun. It's the state's engineered directed light into the doors, into the entrance area, all the way back past underneath, first of all, the structure above the entrance, as I continue to stress. Understand that. That's also another indication of that which is not from the sun. But you have it engineered light aimed inside of the library, light activity spanning across the doors and walls as the door is opened and closed, which third-party group stalkers are present in relevant position as that impossible light activity is occurring all around while I go inside and use the bathroom. So you have this engineered light as the state's fake sun is over that same location all day long, right there. And underneath that structure, above the entrance wall, what you have is light onto the ground, onto all the walls, reaching back into the depths of the library behind that glass partition, right in front of the bathroom, on the side of the bathroom, in between that little hallway where the water fountains are. This is that which is not coming from the sun. This is the state's engineered light. But also, I want to be clear, as I have already shown in documentation, the state remaining in that position with its fake sun while I'm there. And in this video at 5:33 p.m., after I have left from the library to use the bathroom, and let's be clear, that engineered light inside, that's the sexually violent conduct, indicating monitoring while you're inside of a private space, which the people of the state of California are monitoring on behalf of that public entity. That's why that light is there, okay? Light is crucial for monitoring with communication devices. And so that's what's occurring inside of Ontario OVITT, while the state's light source is not over here in alignment to the museum, mind you, which no sun, the actual true sun, is not remaining over the same property for the duration of the day, moving north and south to remain in relevant position to you, where you are for the entirety of a day. This is the exact same conduct that I showed with, mind you, the state's fake moon, which remained over the same location. All right, that's the sun and the moon at the same location. Okay, and so this is why I also combined the documentation from the 26th and the 27th. You've got what I captured as I'm standing at 150 East Holt, the state's fake moon over that property, and in the morning where the sheriff's department is engaged in monitoring me and stalking, engaged in the state's fake sun is over that same location. All right, and then it remains, again, I'm just reiterating, it remains over me at the Ontario Family Library, remaining as I'm inside at 5 p.m. and as I walk to the museum, which is moving south from that location. Nowhere near, as I've shown, feigning that like it's setting diagonally across from Wells Fargo. It's not going anywhere. It's changing the color. It is aiming light in the same exact location and aiming light on all of the surfaces around. And this is after it remains for the entirety of a day. You're talking about over 10 hours, it's remaining present over me all day long. And so that's the significance of that video that I'm capturing at 5:33 p.m., where you've got the fake sun that's present in the morning, fake sun that's present literally behind 214 Southeast Euclid, which is on the opposite side of the street. All right. That's called P.O.C. In addition to that, what do you have? The ongoing indications of everything that I am pointing to. The state is stalking with a light source, and while the state is engaging in stalking me with a helicopter, flying in a circle after I captured that video at 5:33 p.m., a dark gray, like a metallic gray and dark blue helicopter flies over my head on the north side of the museum, not on the south side where I usually sleep, and it's flying over there. This is entirely targeted, as I am on the north side, as you hear on this podcast about 7 minutes ago, engaging in that same conduct. That flies directly over at 5:30. We'll say 5:35, not long after I capture that video, the state engages in flying in a circle over me on this side of the museum. Very targeted conduct while I'm speaking to what is stalking with the light, all right? That stalking conduct is also probative of what I am revealing as to the state stalking with light. That's why it's doing so, because it's monitoring, and that is a psychopath flying in circles around an American citizen, because it is monitoring with the psychopaths that are monitoring as they're on the run in their cars. And the state is amplifying that activity, as the state is amplifying the sound of a train for purposes of audible activity, while those psychopaths in their car are monitoring, while psychopaths, like you see in the video at 5:33, sitting in alignment to me on the north side of the museum, aiming headlights, which is for purposes of monitoring, adding light into the atmosphere, in alignment to me, where the state's fake sun is engaged in maintaining its presence and relevant position to me, where moments later the state is engaged in ongoing stalking, audibly and visibly, because the state is always present by plane and helicopter. And I want to be clear to that end, after the helicopter flies in a circle over me on the north side as I'm sitting at the museum, Southwest Airlines is used as a means of federal group stalking and monitoring, flying directly over the museum, all right? And that is Southwest Airlines engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Any means by which a third party provides any instrumentality, tools, resources of monitoring an American citizen, you are engaged in the state's P.O.C. If you don't want to be documented as engaged in sexually violent pattern of conduct of monitoring American citizens, then I suggest you not provide your instrumentalities, your planes, and your vehicles for that criminal purpose, because you're going to be prosecuted for it. And that's what the documentation shall establish. And that's what prosecution shall result in. That is Southwest Airlines that was flying over my head at the museum, so I want to be clear on that as well. And so this is what you'll see. This is what will be uploaded to the share drive. Substantial documentation is already there. It's just the video that I just captured right now. Again, right now it's 6:19 p.m. and so that is to be published as soon as possible. That video that I captured at 5:33 p.m. And again, the little maggot on the rollerblades with the glasses representing the people of the state of California. It does not matter what your age is. It's in no way going to preclude any federal prosecution for monitoring, causing any person under the age of 18 to do so. Not only is that minor a federal group stalker, and to be subject to what are the federal repercussions at the age of majority, that whoever is responsible for bringing that maggot into existence is also engaged in criminal facilitation, whether they're physically present or not. There is no way that the public entity shall in any manner avoid prosecution where it is acting through the people in all the guises under which they do so. It is despicable, and this is the prosecution of every single criminal and malicious and demented tactic that it engages in. So it is currently, like I said, it's 6:20 p.m. and that is the legal analysis, and that's the substance of what I documented, or meaning as images and video that I uploaded, and the ongoing pattern of conduct, which is ceaseless. So that is P.O.C. This is documentation that is gathered on February 28th, 2021, and this is at third-party facilitating venue Target, where, mind you, the state's light source, that is a fake sun, is on the property, aiming light, both in targeting the location of its placement of its light, this engineered light, while it is literally stalking, dragging this light source around, remaining squarely above as I'm inside of the third party's vehicle, being transported to third-party facilitating venue Target, located at 9052 Central Avenue in the city of Montclair, California, the zip code 91763. This is documentation of what is the sexually violent aspect of the pattern of conduct, because federal group stalking and monitoring with communication devices does not take a pause. The public entity is in no way stopping its criminal monitoring inside of a private space, and that is while I'm inside of that third-party venue, and the patrons and employees alike are engaged in the state's pattern of conduct that is literally filling that store, that venue, mind you, while the state's light source is aimed onto the parking lot lot. As I'm walking in, you have what is the state's fake sun over that venue after I captured in video over the third-party facilitating venue of SIZZLER. As I described what was the state's directed light as third parties crossing path in their vehicles, and acting in concert with a public entity that was directing its light onto that plaza wall directly in alignment to me. That's monitoring conduct. The state's fake sun moves from that parking lot, as I showed at that SIZZLER, across from the Mountain Inn and the In and Out. And as I go to Target at 9052 Central Avenue, the state's fake sun is there. And the state is aiming its light onto that parking lot, which is molesting my person as I walk inside of that venue. That is P.O.C. The state's fake sun present for purposes of massive monitoring, which is ongoing inside of that venue. And what I documented was not only the state's P.O.C., that behavioral pattern of stalking with audible activity that was amplified. So you have what is loud sound of crashing shopping carts as they are engaged in corporate invasion of privacy while I am inside of the private space inside of that Target. And I also referenced the security cameras. And so this is the significance of what I documented while inside of that private space at Target, located again at 9052 Central Avenue in Montclair, California, 91763. And this is P.O.C. All right, it is February 28th, it's Sunday, 2021. I'm currently at the Target located in, this is right beside, or across the street actually, from Montclair Place, where the state's fake sun, as I captured in that parking lot after it was directly above me at the Ontario Town Square library area. Understand, I'm at the Target that's across the street from that location. It's 5:30. The state's fake sun is at this venue. I want to be clear. And what you're looking at, again, documentation inside of what is Target, third-party facilitating venue, the state's light source over the venue, third-party group stalkers acting with the state. Understand, the pattern of conduct requires corporate invasion of privacy by entity. And what you are looking at as they are entering in and getting what are shopping carts, substantial audible activity, which is occurring with simultaneity as I move inside of the bathroom. I did go out and I referenced the cameras with regard to the use of what was slamming the shopping carts as they're grabbing them. Understand what you're looking at on camera. It's demonic activity. They're monitoring systematically so. And I want to be clear, that's occurring. This is bathroom monitoring inside of Target. Literally, third-party group stalkers filled the bathroom, and it is absolutely hideous and disgustingly dirty. Understand that's not a coincidence. It is also seen on camera where I am outside right in front of the entrance talking to the security guard who was in relevant position, who was monitoring as they are systematically slamming their shopping carts in the front. And these perverts are doing so with simultaneity as they are aware of what I'm doing in real time. Understand, that's a behavioral pattern, okay? And this is called corporate invasion of privacy by entity. And this is that which is occurring inside of any private space, which includes the bathroom, all right? This is the sexual violence. And by the way, the state's fake sun is over the venue. That is confirmation of everything that is ongoing. The state stalking everywhere that I'm going today. And the state's fake sun that was over that SIZZLER, which is nearest Chino, okay? You're going, it's very, very far from being directly over 280 North Lemon Apartments, over my head all day long, and then over that same parking lot. And it is here over the Target, the parking lot. That's P.O.C, systematic monitoring. Hear that beep? This is all going toward what Target is engaged in. That's called audible activity inside of a private space. They are monitoring at Target. And this is the Target it's like Montclair / Upland. That's P.O.C, all right? And this is perverted criminal monitoring, and it is also demonic activity, all right? It's a systematic means of monitoring with communication devices where the state is stalking with its light source, which is right outside of the doors. That's P.O.C. It is 5:32 p.m.